He says that he heard the Shafi'i say, may Allah have mercy on his soul, a great Imam of the Muslims, that it is permissible to pray a missed prayer due to sleeping whenever you want. So if you missed Fajr prayer, you can pray it after Dhuhr, after Asr. And he says that the reason was that there is a hadith of a valley. What is the hadith of a valley? There is a hadith where the Prophet was on an expedition, alayhi salatu wasalam, and he set his camp at night, and he said to the companions, who will guard us and wake us for Fajr? So Bilal said, I will do. And Bilal stayed all night long, and at the end of the night he felt a little bit drowsy, so he put his back to the camel, just resting his back, and all of a sudden he fell asleep, and the Prophet woke up when the sun was almost in the middle of the day. And he woke up and he said, Bilal, what is this? He said, Wallahi, O Prophet of Allah, the one who made you sleep made me sleep. I had nothing to do with it. So the Prophet told them to pick up their camp, and they moved away, and then they prayed Fajr. So the confusion with Brother Saud is that Shafi'i claims, I don't know, Imam Shafi said this or not, that this hadith is an evidence that you can delay making up for the Fajr. And there is no evidence in that, because the Prophet justified this in the end of the hadith. So I beg to differ that Imam Shafi used this hadith, because in the hadith the Prophet stated that in this camp shaitan overwhelmed you all. So in order to make up your prayer, we have to shift to another place where shaitan has no power or authority in. That's the only reason. Secondly, how can we follow Shafi'i's instruction if he were to say such a thing, may Allah have mercy on his soul, and this is his ijtihad, when we have a clear hadith? This is authentic. The Prophet said, alayhi salam, whoever oversleeps a prayer or forgets it must pray it as soon as he remembers it. Must pray it as soon as he remembers it. There is no expiation to it other than that. What do you understand from this? The Prophet is telling you, pray it ASAP. Or as they say, ASAP. And you say, oh yeah, but Imam Shafi'i says, Akhi, the Prophet says, come on, give me a break. And some smart aleck would say, didn't the Shafi'i know about this hadith? Subhanallah, is Allah going to ask you on the Day of Judgment about what the Shafi'i said or what about the Prophet ﷺ said? Come on, be a real Muslim. So I respect Shafi'i. Shafi'i is on my head, definitely, but I respect the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ more. And if you fail to bring me a hadith or to indicate to me that the hadith is not authentic, then I'll always stick with the Quran and to the Sunnah till the day I die.